Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Marilyn Lau, and I am with the USC Viterbi School of Engineering Admissions and Student Engagement team. So it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's session of our Spotlight series, where we will highlight our Petroleum Engineering Master Programs. So we are joined by Dr. Iraj Ershaghi, who will be sharing with us information on the graduate programs offered within petroleum engineering, and he can also answer any questions that you might have. So a very warm welcome, Dr. Ershaghi. So before we begin, I just wanted to mention that we will be sending out a copy of today's presentation slides. So, there's a lot of information about our petroleum engineering programs. So if there is no need for you to jot it down right away, we will be following up within 1 to 2 business days. And for those of you who are watching this webinar at a later time, please do note that the content is from October 17th, 2024. And we always recommend for you to visit our website for the most updated information. In terms of asking questions, we do highly encourage you to ask any questions you might have during the session by typing it in the Q&A or also in the chat function as well. And we will go ahead and answer those questions as they come through. And we will also allow some time at the end of the session for additional questions. Today's program, I will be talking about the USC Viterbi School of Engineering for those of you who are not familiar with our academic institution. And then we'll talk about the master programs that we offer within petroleum engineering. And then we'll go through some frequently asked questions with Dr. Ershaghi. And then I'll take you guys through the online delivery method, Dana Viterbi. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up with a Q&A session. So a little bit about the University of Southern California. So for those of you who don't know, we are the oldest private university in the Western United States. We were founded back in 1880, and we do have over 47,000 students. We have over 4,700 full-time faculty members, and this number doesn't include our adjunct faculty members who usually, are part-time faculty and who work in the industry. Our student population is extremely diverse. Our students come from all different walks of life, different industry background, different geography background. And, at USC, we do like to say, we are a melting pot, and we are located in Los Angeles. So let's talk a little bit now really quickly about Viterbi School. So Viterbi School is made up of 8 academic departments. And so the petroleum engineering programs does fall under the Mork family Department for Chemical Material Science. And in terms of student population, as of the fall 2023 data, we do have over 6,800 graduate students. And so this number here really, it consists of our master students, both on campus and online, as well as our graduate certificate students and also our doctoral students as well. We have over 213 tenure track faculty, 16 full-time and 34 total TTNE members, over 100 National Science Foundation or Career and National Presidential Young Investigators. Along faculty, of course, comes research. So, Viterbi School is a leader in funded research. We have over 35 research centers, and more than $177 million are invested in research expenditures on an annual basis. So let me go ahead and give you guys all the introduction to Professor Dr. Iraj Ershaghi. So he is the Omar B. Milligan Professor and also the Director of our Petroleum Engineering programs within the Mork Family Department of Chemical Engineering and Material Science. He's also the Director of the Ershaghi Center for Energy Transition. And he's also the executive director of the Chevron USC Center for Interactive Smart Oilfield Technologies. And he is a National Academy of Engineering member. So welcome, Dr. Ershaghi, and thank you so much for taking your time out of your day in speaking with all of us about the petroleum engineering programs.
Thank you, Marilyn.
So let's go through now some frequently asked questions. So Dr. Ershaghi, what are some of the petroleum engineering graduate programs that are offered within USC? And can you also explain the differences between the specializations that are offered?
Sure. See, we offer a master's in petroleum engineering and master's in petroleum engineering with the focus on digital oilfield technology. This second degree is the one that's very popular because we have some courses included as a part of the requirement that handle the issues related to the AI and data analytics and data mining and cybersecurity. Uh, this is some of the topics that are of high interest in oil companies.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Shaggy. And so, we also want to note that, these two programs are also offered online through Dana Viterbi. So, Dr. Shaggy, would you be able to kind of, walk us through the program details of each master's programs?
So for both degrees, we have some core courses, and as is listed here actually on the list, you can see 507, 508, 517, 531, 555, 582. These are we call them core courses. That the total adds up to 19 units. The difference has to do with the type of electives. For the regular master's degree, students have wide choices of taking any course they want. Of course, we have to approve that that's within the petroleum or chemical engineering. But for the specific focus area of digital technology, the elections will be different.
Perfect. Thank you. And what about the specialized program within the digital oil field technologies?
So we have some latitude in terms of what courses they take. What you're showing right now is the MS in digital technology that actually includes the 586, PTE 586, 587. 586 gets into and basically the AI and the machine learning. 588 is data mining. 519 is cybersecurity. And then on the 589, depending on what courses are being offered, a student can have a wide choice of taking different courses related to this subject. Um, the technology of the oil field operation is changing rapidly. The companies are upgrading to the new technology, and because it has some implication in terms of cost saving. And obviously, we want to make sure our graduates are equipped with this kind of a knowledge or background.
Thank you for sharing with us, Dr. Shaggy. So, in terms of, if we have some students, like prospective students who want to know, what kind of job opportunities may come, after graduation, can you share with us a little bit more about what our students do and kind of where do they go afterwards?
So, a master's degree in petroleum will actually make it enable the graduates to get involved in with the again depending on whether they do it part-time or full-time. We have students right now who are actually working full-time and they pursue the degree in the evening because as Marina indicated, the courses are being taped and you can actually watch it through the DEN system. So that's quite possible. You can be in anywhere in the world for that matter, actually. And we have students from Kuwait and we have students from different parts of the world that are actually going to the DEN program. And we have a special way of handling the examinations and assessment aspect of it. In terms of the jobs, it's changing really. There's not much exploration going on in the U.S. except in the Permian Basin. So, or also in the area of unconventional reservoirs. We definitely make sure that if it has to do with the exploration, the students are equipped, well equipped actually to handle this kind of job. But many of the students actually end up in the IT industry. Many of our graduates actually get a job with Microsoft and with Google and Amazon, believe it or not, because these companies are actually providing data analytics and cloud computing services to oil industry, and they do need the expertise of people who have some subsurface of petroleum engineering experience. Some actually end up in the uh, areas related to financing and things that have to do with energy. For many of the operations, you're talking about big numbers, and many of the banks and the financial institutions are interested to have petroleum engineering understaffed to handle this kind of a thing. So, and then also after a few years, students are able to actually get international assignment if they're interested. There's a lot of assignment going on in places like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, and then this is the Middle East, but also in areas such as Indonesia and African nations have actually developed, started developing their resources that they need expertise. So the operations are very good. One thing we do at USC is not just taking classes. We actively mentor the students. We facilitate with the connections that we have to make sure they actually get an assignment with a company that would be of their interest. Many of my, I've been at USC 52 years, and many of my students actually have their own oil companies. As a matter of fact, after a few years, you start with one well and it grows. And so once you learn technologies that are happening, you can actually get into the business of the energy production. And we all know that, in fact, there was an article I was just reading today that talks about the energy consumption of the world is going to go on, and people who are active in the field of energy production will be in high demand. Because all of the IT industries, all of the transportation, everything that you think about requires energy. We are not getting rid of oil and gas. Oil and gas is going to continue to be. We are doing some research in the area of emission control. So once we handle the matter of emission, oil and gas, everybody will know will be a very important part of the energy basket.
Thank you, Dr. Ershaghi. So it does sound like, there's a lot of different, career opportunities for individuals afterwards, and as well as for current working professionals as well. So, one of the questions that, some attendees might want to know is, can I pursue a petroleum engineering graduate program online?
Oh,
Um,
yes, absolutely.
mhm.
Basically, through Zoom or phone conversation with myself, because I'm serving as a director program, we set up the schedule for you, what courses to take in each semester. And from that point on, it's just taking the classes, matter where you are. And, the examinations are done through email or through, again, you have a limited time to do the kind of thing. But yes, absolutely. We have a number of students actually taking advantage of this option because we know that by the time you get to the age of doing a master's degree, you're already engaged with different things, and you may not have the time to come to the campus. But USC is very unique in providing that opportunity for the student.
Thank you, Dr. Shaghi. And in terms of, I can go ahead and kind of, walk everyone through now kind of, what the different course delivery methods are, as well as expanding on the online delivery method that Dr. Shaghi talked about, which is Dana Viterbi. So in terms of the course delivery methods for our Master of Science in Petroleum Engineering program, so we do have on-campus as well as online. So on-campus is kind of, when students pursue the program at USC's campus, and students tend to be studying on a full-time basis. So they usually take, 2 classes or more per semester. And so ultimately they can graduate within 1.5 to 2 years. And then we have the online delivery method, Dana Viterbi. So this is, kind of tailored more for individuals who are working professionals. And so you're working full time and you're studying on a part-time basis, and you tend to be taking 1 to 2 classes per semester. So on average, it will take you maybe around 2.5 to 3 years to complete your degree. But for both of these delivery methods, if you do want to accelerate your completion time, you can consider taking summer semester as well. So a little bit about how our online delivery method, Dana Viterbi, works. Dr. Ershaghi, did mention that it is a online delivery method. And so it's actually also, the Viterbi School of Engineering's in-house web-based delivery system. So for those of you who are not familiar with our online delivery method, so USC Viterbi has been doing distance education learning since 1972. Started off with VHS recording tapes. And it is really flexible, and it allows our students from all over the world to access classes either live or on demand. So as Dr. Ershaghi kind of mentioned, that he's had students, from Kuwait pursuing their degree as a DEN student. And so they're able to watch it live if they can, but, given the time difference, they go ahead and watch it as a recording on their own afterwards on demand. For those of you who are, also within the United States, every DEN student does also have a physical seat in every class that they are enrolled in. So if you live in the LA area and you are a DEN student, you're more than welcome to sit in on lectures and meet Dr. Ershaghi as well in person. DEN students view the same lectures as on-campus students, so the content is fresh every semester. You will participate in highly interactive discussions with your professors and your peers as well, and you will submit your homework electronically. When it comes to exams, you will take your exams at a proctor testing center located either near your home or your work, but you will be doing your exams at USC's campus if you are living in the LA, Orange, or Ventura counties. So a little bit about, what is the comparison between an online student and an on-campus student? Because we do get this question quite often. So as you can see on this slide, the program admissions is the same for both delivery modality. You will still submit a USC graduate application and the required materials. The weekly course lectures is online with interactivity for online DEN students. Having access to the course archives, DEN Viterbi students do have access to this, and assignments are submitted electronically, but as you can see, the course deadline dates will be the same as on-campus students. Exams will be taken at a proctor location, but if you're residing in one of the 3 counties with nearby Los Angeles, then you will be doing your exams at USC's campus. Courses per semester, so I kind of touched upon this, that, majority of our DEN Viterbi students tend to be working professionals, so they do take 1 to 2 classes per semester. But you could see that the degree completion requirements are the same. You still need to complete between 27 to 37 units and have at least a 3.0 GPA or above. So ultimately, when you do complete your degree, your diploma is just going to be issued by USC Viterbi. There's going to be no distinction on there, whether you're an online student or a on-campus student. Okay, so what are the application requirements and the tuition and fees? So when it comes to our graduate programs, each program is unique in terms of the application requirements, but specifically, for the petroleum engineering admissions requirement, you do need to have an undergraduate degree in petroleum engineering or any other engineering, math, or a hard science from a regionally accredited college. You do need to submit your digital official transcripts. And also when it comes to GPA, so there is no requirement in terms of having a GPA, a 3.0 GPA, but we do recommend to be competitive. Good news, though, is that the GRE is not required for admissions for 2025 Viterbi admission applications. For the petroleum engineering programs, you do also need to submit your resume to highlight your work experience, any internships that you've held, as well as, any kind of leadership opportunities or positions that you've held as well, and kind of highlighting your achievements. Your personal statement is also required, and your personal statement should really talk about, why you're interested in the petroleum engineering programs, kind of what motivated you to pursue this program, and kind of what your career ambitions are afterwards, after you've, obtained your MS in petroleum engineering. And then for the petroleum engineering programs, you do need to submit 3 letters of recommendations. Letter recommendations can be from faculty members as well as supervisors or managers from your work environment. And for those of you who are international applicants, you do need to submit your TOEFL and IELTS scores, as well as meeting the English language proficiency requirements set by USC. In terms of upcoming application deadlines, so for those of you, who are interested in being an online Dan Viterbi student, and you do not require a student visa sponsorship, such as an F1 or I-20, we can extend the application deadline for spring 2025, which begins in January, to November 15th. However, if you are interested in on-campus delivery method, or you're just purely interested in fall 2025, the deadline to submit your application and the required materials is December 15th. So, for both of these terms, there is an asterisk, which indicates that a deadline extension for our online Dan Viterbi students is available. So you can email me at dan@viterbi.usc.edu for more information. And you could also, if you're ready to submit your application for either spring 2025 or fall 2025, you can actually find the application link at the top right over there. Oops. Okay. So some additional information. So if you're interested in starting as early, as spring 2025, but you don't have enough time to submit your application as an online Dan Viterbi student, you can enroll as a limited status student. So a limited status student is an enrollment option that allows strong candidates with an undergraduate degree in engineering, math, or a hard science from a regionally accredited institution. And you do need to have at least a 3.0 GPA to begin coursework before you submit your application for formal admissions. You can only take a maximum of 12 units as a limited status student, and those courses that you took, those units can be applied towards your degree program if you're admitted. But do note that limited status student does not guarantee formal admissions. You can get started as early as spring 2025 by completing your Dan Viterbi profile. And you could take like a course or two in petroleum engineering in spring before submitting your application for the fall 2025 term as a Dan Viterbi student. Also, in addition, for those of you who may be sponsored by your employer, we do have what we call the Employer Reimbursement Deferment Program. So this is for students who are supported by a company. You can defer your payment of up to 90% of tuition until after the semester is over. To be eligible, first and foremost, your employer does have to reimburse you for tuition at the end of each term, and your student account has to be current. Program participation requirements by you, the student, is that you are required before every semester to submit and complete your deferment application, pay 10% of tuition, 100% of all fees, and a $100 application fee. And you also need to sign and submit your promissory note packet and send it to USC sfs@usc.edu. So you might be wondering, do we offer any scholarships or funding? So the answer is, so we do offer, yes, we do offer a Dan Viterbi scholarship for our online Dan Viterbi students. It is a merit-based scholarship awarded to outstanding students pursuing a master's program fully online through Dan Viterbi. The scholarship details is that it is a partial scholarship ranging from 1 to 4 units of tuition that is available for students pursuing a Viterbi master's program fully online and who receive partial or no tuition reimbursement funds from their employer. The funding provided is during the awarded academic year, and applicants can actually reapply each academic year for a future scholarship consideration. To be eligible for this scholarship, you do need to be a newly admitted student or have an application on file, and you do need to have a minimum GPA of a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. So for those of you interested in submitting your application for spring 2025 as an online Dan Viterbi student, the application deadline for the scholarship itself is Friday, November 15th, and you can find the application at the link indicated on the bottom of this slide. So, you might be wondering, okay, I'm ready to get started. What do I do next? So, for those of you who are interested in taking classes on campus, you can visit USC campus virtually by heading over to that link over there. And you can also start your application for formal admissions for fall 2025 by heading over to the application portal page. And for those of you who are interested in taking classes as an online Dana Viterbi student, you can also start your application for formal admissions for spring 2025 if you can submit it by the November 15th deadline. Or you could also start as a limited status as early as spring 2025 by completing your Dana Viterbi profile as well. Okay, so I am going to open up the floor for all of you to chat your questions that you might have for Professor Ershaghi. You can go ahead and pop them in the chat or the Q&A box as well. And you know, if it's questions for Dr. Ershaghi, if you also have questions that are about the application process or admissions, I can go ahead and answer those for you as well. So I'll just allow a couple of minutes for everyone to kind of pop their questions in there.
I should indicate also that some of the students, after the first year that they've had some courses, they become highly interested and they want to do a paper or study with me. If you actually get the chance to do that, which is going to be extra load, and most people can handle it, not only it will give you a publication, but I can hire you at our center to do a research related to the energy transition. Um, so as long as you keep your GPA up, I think that opportunity exists.
Thank you, Dr. Shaggy. Yeah, and I know, you know, just kind of right on that. I know, you know, I attended that SPE ATCE conference, you know, with you, and I met a lot of our current master students as well. And, you know, they've, you know, talked about all the wonderful projects and research that they've done with you as well. And so, yeah, definitely, you know, this is a opportunity, you know, that is really good for students to really be getting hands down with you in research. Would you be able to share with us a little bit more about the Energy Transition Center?
So we have two centers at USC. The center that I'm running, the one gets into the technical issues or technical solutions. And the focus is that, as many people actually indicate, it is not really an energy transition, it's energy expansion. We're going to need all forms of energy. Oil and gas is not going to be wiped out. As a fact, the demand for oil and gas is going higher and higher because all over the world, people want to drive, people want to have, you know, conveniences that, you know, they haven't had. So currently we are using about 100 million barrels of oil a day, and it's going to go even higher. So we do need other forms of energy.
Mhm.
But what is really required is the control on emission. So our research these days really has to do with the emission control. So we have active research going on, methane control and CO2 control. We have centers being established on CO2 sequestration. So as a new breed of petroleum engineers coming up with a master's degree, you're going to get involved in some very exciting pieces of work. So yeah, you know, again, our focus mostly has to do with the technological innovations. It has to do with you know, creating new forms of energy, geothermal, hydrogen, and also controlling the emission.
That sounds very exciting, Dr. Ishagi. Thank you for sharing with us. And for those of you joining, you know, that definitely could be, you know, some research that you can participate and really collaborate with Dr. Ishagi on. So that's very exciting. So I don't see any questions come through at the moment. So hopefully it's because, you know, Dr. Ishagi, we were able to answer everyone's questions. But if you guys don't have any questions right now and you do have some, you know, after this spotlight webinar, you could always email us, you know, at danavitribute.usc.edu. And if it is a question, for Dr. Ershaghi. Here we go. I see one. Can I be considered for a research assistant position at the center if I
So,
qualify for such positions as a newly admitted international master's student?
so all of the students that are admitted for the PhD program, they are research assistants, so they get full tuition and monthly stipend. The master's degree, we do have number of support programs depending on how well you do. So we don't have a research assistant position for a master's student, but if you do well by getting involved in various activities, I'm not saying that you're gonna receive the income that would be equivalent to what you have to pay for the tuition, but it will help. And definitely, almost all of the master students are doing something with me in the program. So if as long as you keep the grades up, I think we have a project for you.
Thank you, Dr. Ershaghi. So I saw another question that says, can I be considered for a scholarship as a research assistant? So in terms of that, the only scholarship, so if you're talking about the Dana Viterbi scholarship that I talked about, so that's only available for online Dana Viterbi students. And as Dr. Ershaghi mentioned, the research assistants, is more geared towards the doctoral students. But if you're talking about scholarships, there are some additional scholarships, for on-campus students if you're interested in the on-campus delivery method. And that can be actually found on our website. So we do have a lot of scholarship available for on-campus delivery method. And so I could include that in my follow-up email so that you guys can navigate there and see, whether or not you qualify for the scholarships. And if you do, then you will be considered for those scholarships through your application.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, for Dr. Ershaghi afterwards, Dr. Ershaghi, if you, would you mind if I shared forwarded their emails to you? I can go ahead and do
Give
that if
me
it's
my
questions
email,
that's
even cell phone, 310-991-1337. I love to talk to you and help you.
perfect. I hope you guys wrote down his phone number, right?
310-991-1337. Feel free to call me.
Yes, perfect. Feel free to call Dr. Ershaghi, and I'll also include his email as well on this last slide when I send out a follow-up email as well.
Sure.
Perfect. So if there are no additional questions, I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Ershaghi, for your time in, talking and walking us through the Petroleum Engineering Master's programs. And it's really exciting to hear of the innovative things that are happening within petroleum engineering. And, for everyone who is joining live and also watching this as a recording, hope you found the information insightful for you as well. So take care, stay safe, and we hope to hear from you soon. And as we say at USC, fight on.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Dr. Ershaghi.